Everyone has clothes on, right?
Yeah, they do.
Hey, is anybody naked? Oh, good. No naked people? All right, I think I started my thing. Did I start my thing? How come I've got so many rivets? Oh, how come you've got so many rivets on the wish list? Are they that riveting? Rivets are riveting. I love rivets. Rivets are amazing. Look, I have long enough hair to be crazy a little bit now. I think I have to have crazy hair. Let's get some crazy hair. It is. Anyway, hello everybody. Vasco Zuzu says, although I think everyone can read that. So I'm in a new place today. Not a new place today. Not a new building. I'm just in a new spot in my building. Last week I was over there, but my table moved. I rearranged my house, so it's actually a lot more spacious now. So I was feeling a little congested in here and crowded, just because like things were piling up in all the wrong places. So I just reorganized some stuff. And man, look at all the space I've got. Well, there's a pole right here, but yeah, got more floor space now. And my table, which is right here. This table with my nice adventure builder symbol on it. I love this table. It's all cleared off now because it was on the tool side of my house. So when it was over on the tool side of my house, it kept getting tools and construction stuff on my drawing table, and then it was just like, come on, man, this is my drawing table. And I'm like, who am I saying come on, man? I'm saying it to myself. So I was like, okay. Let me get my drawing stuff on the not workshop side of the table or side of the house, and I had a bunch of windows and stuff in the way here. I just put them in the bathroom, leaning against the wall, with my solar panels because they're fine. So yeah, I just rearranged everything and got everything much more organized. Here, I'll show you where the table used to be. I'm gonna try to walk. It's gonna get all pixely because I'm moving and everything. Okay, hey you guys, what are you doing? Let me turn my camera around to the other side. Oh no, I'm blocking them. Yeah. So this is where the table used to be, right here. And then all of this steel stuff was under my table. Do you have underwears on?
I have shorts.
You have shorts on. Well, that's a good thing. So all this steel stuff was under the table, but then I used all the steel stuff to make a little bench and to make some shelves. And well, part of the steel turned into shelves and part of the steel is just in the shelves. So check it out. I got like right here. This is like the most ridiculously strong shelves in the universe. But I've got some stainless steel poles in this slot, nothing in those two. And then some, I don't know, different things. Anyway, it's much more organized. And my kids helped me organize all this. It was great. And this is stainless steel, regular steel, galvanized stuff like that, and aluminum back there. And pretty quickly, my kids were catching on to what the different metals looked like, and they were putting them in the right place. It was so exciting. I'm gonna just plug this back in so I don't use up my battery. Okay, now what am I gonna talk about today? I think I'm gonna say something about money. That's a fairly common topic for me when I'm having gripes about things. So there's this girl on YouTube. It doesn't matter who it is. And like 10 years ago, I saw one of her videos, and then every 6 months to a year or whatever, I'd kind of check in on how she was doing. I was like, oh, cool. It's kind of this interesting person that I would pay attention to a little bit. And then I hadn't seen any of her videos in a few years, partly because I just haven't been online much. And I don't really watch much stuff online anyway. Oh, my hair's uneven. But one of her videos popped up on my thing when I was going to upload a video, and I was like, oh, it's her. Let me check out how she's doing. And all she's talking about is money. And she used to talk about all this different stuff, like adventures and things I thought were interesting. And then suddenly all she would talk about is money. And so I was like, what's going on? So I went to her page, and it was like back, if I scroll down a little bit, there was a point where she made a lot of money. And before that, she had videos about, all kinds of different things. And at the point when she became a millionaire, it was like, that was it. That's all she talks about from now on. And I watched. I kind of skipped through the video a little bit, but toward the end of the video, she's going on about how to become a millionaire and how she did it and all this stuff. And she says, "And I truly believe that everyone can do this. Like everyone can become a millionaire." And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Because like, the reason she says she truly believes it is because she knows it's bullcrap, but she can believe it with her feelings. All right, so what happens if everyone becomes a millionaire? If everyone becomes rich, nobody's rich, right? If everyone has $1 million and starts buying more stuff, all the stores run out of stock, like pretty soon. And then they have to increase their prices to slow down. Wait, hold on, people are talking to me. What do you guys want? Oh, you're looking for a car cannon? My kid's playing hide and seek. Apparently one's hiding under my table. But anyway, if everyone becomes a millionaire, everyone has all this, they start buying all this stuff. All the stores and everywhere starts running out of stock. So to slow down the buying of everything, they increase prices, right? And also they're ordering more stuff from their supplier. So their supplier does the exact same thing. They're like, oh man, we gotta slow this down. We're getting too much demand. We gotta jack up prices. So they jack up prices, and then the store has to jack up prices twice because they're jacking them up because there's too much demand and because their suppliers jacked up. And this goes through the whole supply chain, jacking up the prices everywhere. So if everyone becomes a millionaire, suddenly your $1 million isn't worth anything. And this person, I know she's smarter than that. It's just she was using like feelings or something. And now I want to rewind to when I was like 4 years old. And when I was about 4 years old, I had this experience that some people have and some people don't. And it's kind of a weird thing. I think it's really weird that some people never have this experience. Like they'll go through the whole life and never kind of catch on to what's going on and figure this out. So when I was about 4 years old, I saw all the adults talking about money all the time, and they would write on these little pieces of paper called checks and pay for things. And they used to have checks back then. It was a long time ago. So people would write checks for stuff, and I would ask my mom, like, what's the deal with that check? You just write a number of money on it, and then you just give it to the person, and what is going on? So she explains, okay, well, you have to have the money in the bank. So I write the number on the check, I give it to the person, and then they can go to the bank and they get the money from my bank account. So you can't write a check for something you don't have. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand that. That makes sense. But then I kept asking more and more questions about, where's this come from? Where's that come from? And very quickly I hit a wall with pretty much everyone I asked this stuff. And the wall basically ended with, look, if you have enough money, you can have anything you want. And I'd be like, wait, that doesn't make sense. Because it's not like the money. You can't take a $20 bill and like go alakazam and it turns into a chicken dinner or whatever, or a lasagna or a bicycle tire. The money doesn't just make that stuff happen, right? So it is not true that if you just have enough money, you can get anything you want. All this stuff has to come from somewhere. Someone has to be doing this stuff. And this is what really kind of irritated me about this YouTube video I was watching about this girl who used to do all this interesting stuff, and now all she talks about is money, and has her nose up in the air and drinking her tea, talking about, oh, I'm so rich and wealthy, I can do anything I want now. And then talking about how everyone can do that. But everyone can't do that, because if everyone is sitting around going, oh, I'm so rich, I can do whatever I want now, no one's actually doing the stuff that you're paying for. No one's growing the food, no one's making the bicycle tires, no one is collecting the sand from the river and making the concrete or melting the steel. No one's doing it. Someone has to do all that stuff. The money itself is worthless. The money itself is not valuable. It's only as valuable as people agree that it is valuable. So like this whole idea that you just need more money, it only works in a very narrow kind of like perspective. Like right now in the world, if you have enough money, let me fix my lighting a little bit. Do I go this way? Right now in the world, if you have enough money, you can buy just about anything. But this is like a very short-lived thing at this point in time. Like throughout most of history, there hasn't been the ability to just have anything you want with money. And even now, there's plenty of things you can't get, like things that have not yet been invented. And no one's going to invent them with money. You need a creative person. You need some intelligent person who's motivated to figure it out, which is much more valuable than the money. So, the money itself is useful in terms of exchanging value with people, but it doesn't have any value itself. And just it's so ridiculous hearing people go on about money, and you just need to invest right and play the stock market and do all this weird financial stuff that adds zero value to the world. And that's what really irritates me about it. Is all these people who are going on YouTube or writing all these books about how to get rich and how to make millions of dollars. They're just spouting all this nonsense about shuffling money around so that you can get more, while adding zero value to the world. And the more people doing that, the less value there is in the world, and the more people there are just taking. And this is what's happening. This is the big problem we have today. There's too many people taking, and not enough people contributing, not enough people creating value in the world. And it's kind of ridiculous. And I'm sure there's solutions to this. Maybe stop relying on money so much. That's what I'm trying to do with my life. Anyway, let me move on. What else is going on? Yeah, stop thinking that money is the answer to everything. Money's not the answer to everything. Be responsible for yourself and your own life. Take care of things without just resorting to money. Okay, so what else is going on? Well, all right, I built this house, right? It's a big, huge house. It took me it was really like a couple years, but just building the house itself was like a hard year of just morning to dark work, every day. And I was just going at it, right? And then when I moved in, maybe, I don't know, almost a year ago, I kind of slowed down and chilled out a bit, started taking care of my health a bit. While I was working on my house, my legs got used to having basically I stopped running. I wasn't running at all, so my legs couldn't run anymore. So I've been exercising, getting my legs back into full strength and everything. And I'm feeling pretty good now. Not that I've been just resting the last year. It's just, I turned it down a few notches. And now I'm thinking about turning it up a few notches and starting to work really hard again to get some more things done. For instance, my second and third floor up here. I guess at the point when I have my second and third floors finished, I'll have a lot of cool stuff done. And I actually just made a video about this. So there's a video about this, about some of the stuff that goes into more detail. But basically, for me to get my second and third floors done, I have to build a lumber mill. And I want to do a really good job on that. And I have some of the stuff, but I have to order some stuff too. So I have to build a lumber mill. I need to get my shark slicer, the cargo boat, functioning again. I mean, it functions, but I'm what's the word? I'm upgrading, modifying it, and renovating it. And I'm kind of in the process of that. I put up a couple of videos about starting to make the pedal power for that. So I need to get the shark slicer going, because that's my biggest boat. That's the one I'll be able to move logs to the lumber mill with. And I'll also be able to move rocks and sand and dirt, just whatever cargo I have. I'll be able to move it on the bigger boat more easily than just making a million trips with my usual boat. So I need to do that. I need to get some paths through the jungle and basically get access to where I've got fallen trees that I can cut into movable sections, drag out of the jungle. I can't just drag them through the jungle. I need some kind of path that I can at least get them to the path and then reasonably move them a quarter mile or whatever I need to get them to the boat and get them over here and cut here. And no, I don't want to make a portable lumber mill that I can take to the jungle. There's a few reasons for that. I guess the two biggest reasons are I want to run it off solar power, and I'm not going to take a whole bunch of solar panels into the jungle, and there's going to be no sun anyway, because the jungle's, it's got a canopy. And so I want to run it off solar power so I can set that all up here. And the other thing is I want to have all the sawdust I'm going to get. When I cut all those boards, I'm going to have like just huge amounts of sawdust. And that's basically land, and it'll decompose into soil that I'll be able to use to grow things. I want to have that. I don't want to just make mountains of sawdust, out in the jungle somewhere. I want to have that here on my island. Okay, so anyway, I need to build a lumber mill. I need to get my cargo boat going. I need to get access into the jungle there, where I have like a big property. And what else? There's a few other things. Oh, I need to set up the power supply for the lumber mill, which I think I'm going to put on the roof of like a guest house that I'm working on, which means I have to flatten out an area. And I don't know, there's a whole bunch, there's this whole list of like a dozen things or so that I have to do to be able to get the floors up in here. And I was considering just buying the wood, but then the more I thought about it, I was like, if I buy the wood for this, it's going to be cut by a chainsaw. So I'm going to have to plane it anyway. So it's still going to be a bunch of work. Plus, I don't know. It's going to definitely cost more and stuff. Anyway, I think I'm just going to, instead of buying the wood, just start working really hard and just get all of that stuff done. Because when I get all of that, like dozen things done, it's going to be amazing. I'm going to have, everything will be better. There'll be all these cool improvements, and I'll have all these nice machines that I want and stuff. And when I actually get the second and third floor done, I can move like a whole bunch of stuff that's down here up, which will be great, because that's, I was talking earlier about rearranging the floor down here because it was feeling kind of congested. A large part of that is just because everything's on my third floor and I already have a bunch of stuff that goes upstairs. Anyway, okay. So that's kind of what's going on with me right now. Although also right now, Deshane is here. She's come over with her boat and she needs me to fix something on it. Dude, can you just show me this thing? There's a rabbit. So this thing has been pooping and peeing all over my kitchen for the last 3 days.
Oh, she should have had a better cage,
I'm banning animals from my house.
You can't do that. She'll make a better cage.
No, if there's a thing, fine.
We
But
just talked about it.
I'm banning animals from just roaming freely in my house. Yeah. This morning I just had to clean up all this poo, rabbit poo. Anyway, apparently they're gonna make a better thing for the rabbit.
Yeah, she understands that.
Doesn't she need an outside thing?
No, she just needs to not. She's fine for like sitting in the
Okay,
grass.
so, all right, what's wrong with your boat? Come here, talk to this.
I'm
Tell me.
surprised you're not using your other thing.
Oh, I don't care. Yeah, you're not even up to where there's some light. All right, what's wrong with your boat?
The PV light and the bat light are
How
not.
can I fix the lighting here? I gotta get out of. If I put this up higher, the lighting is much better because we're not backlit by those frickin'
Right.
windows.
Right.
Anyway, on your charge controller on your boat.
The PV and the bat light are not on.
So you don't think it's charging?
I don't know. I don't think so though.
Okay. Well, should we go look at that? You want to
Yeah.
hold this thing for a minute and we'll.
Sure.
All right. Let me unplug
You can
it.
turn it around too.
Yeah, you can turn the camera around and do that. Where is my?
Okay.
Where's my voltmeter?
I don't know. Where's your
Oh, I know where it is. Right. Got a spot. All right, let's just go.
Let's turn the camera around.
Yeah, turn the camera. You're the camera person right now. Let's go.
Okay.
So, for anyone who wants to see some scenery around my house, just step on this. This is not going to be there for very long.
Is this gonna reach all the way out there?
What?
I said, is this gonna reach all the way out there?
Oh, hopefully.
Okay, I guess we're about to find out. Come on, go in front of me if you're going in front of me.
So getting signal?
I'm checking. Very little.
Well, maybe we can't do this now.
Um,
Well, this will only take a minute. I'm just gonna check your battery voltage.
yep. I don't think I should go any further.
If your battery voltage is like reasonable, then you're probably don't jump. Oh, come on.
Belle's off the boat.
Pull me back. You just jumped on the boat and moved the whole thing.
Belle's off the boat, okay?
All right. If your battery voltage is like what it should be, then it's probably charging. And if it's like 10 volts, you got a problem.
Okay.
You got like 8 volts.
Yeah.
Yeah, your thing is totally not charging, so it's all plugged in though.
Yeah.
Um,
Hey, tomatoes.
Say hi to tomatoes.
Oh, he can see you. No, the camera's aimed that way. He can see you right there.
Mama,
Yeah.
hi tomatoes.
yeah, I don't know what to do. There's no quick fix to this. All the wires are connected.
Are the panels are definitely in the little caps connected?
Alright, let me check the voltage. I'm just gonna check the voltage coming off your door pad. Something in here.
We're gonna get on the boat, don't worry. Awesome. No, but I told you the other day I tried to take the panels off because I was leaving and I didn't want somebody to take them. And then yeah, I just okay. We're going to, but right now we're doing a live today. Oh.
Connected to itself.
Mhm.
Does nothing.
Okay.
So just give me a second.
Oops. Okay, guys. So apparently, Jaimie doesn't understand how PV panels work, and I somehow messed up the wiring, so they were like connected to themselves. Jaimie will explain it all in like 5 minutes. Well, this explains why my motor's been getting slower and slower.
Is this like when you drive around in your car with the oil light blinking for 6 months and you're like, that doesn't work?
Well,
Alright, your light's on, everything is working.
can you put the cap back on it?
Now we're going to go inside.
Can you
and
put the
have
cap
a
back on the
little
batteries?
Electronics lesson.
Yes.
People might enjoy.
I think it's a great idea. Guys, come on, we gotta go and reconnecting too far away, I guess.
Alright, go back.
Oh, it's connected again. And we're back.
Did you check in the comments to see if the video is working at all?
Yeah, everybody was asking what was going on and
Alright,
stuff,
Eritrea, come.
so it was working.
Alright, so don't leave Eritrea behind. Get her.
I can't get her because I'm
Not
holding
you.
this.
Soldiers, get the baby. Alright. Okay, we're back. And the boat is fixed. So, Deshana, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Yeah,
Why is this upside down?
It wasn't. It was upside down because I needed to be able to see
Okay.
the camera at the top.
All right, this is back to normal. Okay, do you want the good news or the bad news?
Whatever.
Bad news is that you're dumbass. The good news is that it's all fixed. Okay.
I would say more of.
Wait. What is going on with this
He wants
baby?
to go home. And
Well, you guys want to take off? Okay. We're having a minor issue here, I guess. So what Deshana had on her solar panels, oh, this is ridiculous. But, okay, so they say this is a solar panel, and it'll have, the solar panel, are you paying attention? The solar panel has a positive wire and a negative wire, right?
Yeah.
Now you had another solar panel also with a positive wire and a negative wire, yeah? Now you had two wires from one solar panel going to the positive, and then you had two wires from the other solar panel going to the negative. So you just had these connected together, so they're just running electricity through themselves.
I didn't break them though, right?
No, they're fine. So what you need to do is you need to have, in your current setup, you need to have the positive from one solar panel and the positive from the other solar panel connected together.
Oh,
And then the negative from one and the negative from the other connected together. Because your solar panels are 12-volt solar panels, right?
yes.
All right, get out of here. I'll see you later.
Okay, bye.
Give me a hug. Ah. All right, go to Mom's house. All right. Bye, guys.
You can bring the rabbit by later, right?
The what? Oh, take the rabbit. Come here, kid. All right, see you later. All right, all the wildlife is currently exiting my house. And let's see what's going on in comments here. So anyway, I fixed the wires. Luckily, Deshana said something about, are the solar panels working? So I checked that, and I was immediately like, what? Well, it's not connected right at all. Oh, you know what? I'm gonna flip this over again to be back at this side. So hopefully that wasn't too much chaos for everyone. Yeah? You telling me that we have visitors? Yeah, I got it.
We don't have them yet.
All right, you have visitors coming, and you want me to come say hi because I like to be social. All right, let's see. Hold on. Let me get my comments to show up. Did everything just got messed up here?
Yeah, I don't know. It wasn't showing up, and then suddenly it started.
Wait.
showing up.
This is what I clicked for all messages,
Yeah,
right?
all
Yeah,
messages.
live chat. All right. Show me all the messages. Come on, messages.
I want to see who's on.
Oh, everyone's on. Just say hi to everybody and get out of here.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna say hi to everybody. Dan, Bosco's, Jaimie, Tomaters,
I'm Jaimie.
Landfill.
Baby.
Yeah.
Don't forget your
I don't know who else I'm
Blackwater
forgetting.
voice.
Blackwater. Oh, Rolfie's here probably.
Right over here. Aurora just lost her bunny. It's running away from her. All right.
Okay, bye.
So I'll see you later.
Tomatoes. Jamie. I want to say bye to tomatoes.
Oh, I love this comment.
Hold on.
Your
Bye,
camera.
tomatoes.
Wait. Camera would be better if he was facing the windows. I am in a round house. There are windows
Wait, say bye.
everywhere.
Okay, say bye to Tomaters again.
Bye, tomatoes.
All right, get out of here. I'll see you later. Love you. Okay. Yeah, I can't. I don't have any walls in my house, so it's not like there's anywhere I can go where I cannot have a window behind me, unless I put something up, or I could aim this down or whatever. But I don't have a thing that holds this right now. See you later, Aurora. Okay, let's see. Hello from Denmark. Lots of room for activities. Yeah. Good morning. Missed the last couple of weeks. Who's that? See you later. They left my front door wide open. Let's just go close my front door over there. Love you guys. See you later. All right. Front door closed. Oh. Oh, Everlanders, you got Starlink and now you can watch without paying cellular. That's great. Your camera is working best ever. Excellent. What is a noodle unit? A noodle unit is an inch. It's just, I think inches and feet are such ridiculous measurements. I can't take them seriously, man. Inches and feet, it's ridiculous. Trying to do any math with inches and feet is like makes it twice as hard than as if you just do things with metric. And you know, all the imperial measurements, weren't they based on some sort of royal lengths of things? So I call the inches imperial noodle units because anyway. Cameron would be better if he was facing a window. I am facing a window right there. There's a window right in front of me. I probably have millions of dollars in board game cash. Yeah, I have millions of dollars in board game cash too. That's imaginary. I don't actually have. I think I have one board game. Sounds more like inflation than a problem with too many millionaires. Yeah, inflation and too many millionaires is not literally the same thing, but it's pretty much the same thing. We are experiencing massive inflation in Canada right now. Yeah, I'm thinking that's just gonna keep going for a while. Money, money, money. It's insane how addicted we can be to money. Yeah, and I mean, so the weird thing to me is that when I was a little kid, I was looking at this whole money situation going, this doesn't make any sense. This is weird. It doesn't make any sense at all. But I know full-grown adults who are like 50 years old who've never figured out that, you know, money doesn't actually make the food show up at the store. Someone has to grow it and transport it. Like all these people have to do actual things. It's not like you can just spit money at a problem and it's, anyway. But so many people think that just money fixes everything. Regardless of how much money I have, I can only buy so many Cheerios. Yeah, there are only so many Cheerios in the world. Once they're out, you can't buy more until they make more. Tom McDonald's song, Welcome to the System. Maybe do I need to listen to that? Welcome to the system. Welcome to the system. Tom. I just scribbled that really messy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to read it later. 4-year-old Jaimie realized that the superficiality of fiat money. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could not. Like, it's so obvious. But I guess people get distracted by, you know, what I think a lot of it is that people get distracted by treats. Like they think, oh, if I can get all these luxury fancy things. I can buy candy with my money or alcohol, yay! And then it's so easy to be like, well, I'm just not going to care how stupid this is because I got something I wanted, yay! Right now, instantly. He who controls the money supply controls the masses. Only as long as the masses accept the control. So this is the thing. Like right now, we are enslaved by money. Like most people are in indentured servitude. You know, if you have a mortgage, you have a mortgage or a car payment, or you have any kind of loan, you owe any kind of money. You are not free to do whatever you want. You have to keep paying that money. You got to keep doing the jobs that will make the stuff to make the money to keep paying the thing. And like most of the people I know, they owe something, a mortgage or a car payment and a car payment. And if you reduce the need for money in your life, it greatly increases your freedom. So, you know, the more self-sufficient I become here, the less money I need, the less dependent I am on it, the more freedom I have. So for example, I've got my living costs low enough that I can make the videos that I think need to be made, not videos that would make more money. Because I totally know how to make videos that would make money, but they would add no value to the world. And if I scroll through my videos and look at the ones that have the most views, some of them are just the most, not stupid videos, but they don't really add much. Like my most viewed video, I think, is one where I made a generator out of a little gas engine and a car alternator, and it was just like, I got these two parts and bolted them together and put on a pulley, and it was like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything revolutionary or great or anything, but people are like, oh, wow, you made a thing, and it's simple, and it's like so easy to do that anyone could do it, and, but I don't have to make videos like that, or just kind of like, what's the word? Empty videos. And not that it was a terrible video or anything. It's just there wasn't much to it. So, and all my videos that I think are the most valuable are the ones that have some kind of like moral message, like adventure builder videos, or ones where I do something and then I talk about how it relates to people's morality and stuff like that. Like, I think that's the most valuable kind of videos I can make, because that's the ones that'll add the most value to the world. And I can do that even though it doesn't make more money. I mean, even though it doesn't make much money, because I have enough freedom, because I don't need a lot of money. Now, it would be nice to have some more money, but if I continually reduce my need for money, I just have so much more freedom to do the things that I think need to be done, not the things that just make money. The best things in life are free. Well, I don't know if you say they're free, but they don't cost money, that's for sure. Like love, I wouldn't say love is free, but it's not, you don't pay for it with money. So yeah, kind of the best, maybe there's a different way to say that. The best things in life, you cannot buy the best things in life with money. Seeds have potentially infinite abundance. Yeah, seeds, I mean, if you look at a seed and a dollar bill, the seed really has much more value, even though you could use the dollar bill to buy several seeds. But that's only possible as long as everyone is agreeing that the dollar is worth those seeds. And that can disappear like that. People don't think about that too often. But if you look at, what happened in Venezuela over the last few years, I mean, a lot of people don't even know. I mean, look it up. Look up Venezuela right now. The whole thing can collapse like so fast. And right now we're going through this huge inflation issue, and a lot of people are just saying, well, it's a bit of a problem, but it'll go back to normal. But no, inflation keeps going up. It's just going to keep going up. And when it's bad, it goes up fast. And when the inflation is good, it goes up slowly. But it's pretty much going up the whole time. Which is why you used to be able to go to the store with a penny and buy a bunch of stuff. And now a penny is like garbage, I like to keep enough money saved to stop thinking about it. Yeah, it's good to have enough money that you don't have to focus on it all the time. And it's not just the amount of money, it's the amount that you need. So if your yearly expenses are like $100,000, to have like a year of savings worth, you have to have $100,000. But if your yearly expenses are like $5,000, you only need $5,000 to have a year. And if you have $100,000, you're like, I'm good for 20 years minus inflation. So maybe 10 or 15, depending on how bad it gets. Oh, hello, Jeff. Morning. Have you heard of this YouTuber who built like this 10-meter tall concrete egg-shaped building on a tropical island? All right, you're talking about me. It's pretty impressive. There isn't someone else who did that, is it? Did someone else do that too? Because that's pretty cool. Paths are important. Yeah, so paths to get logs for cutting my upper floors. I also need to learn the trees around here. So when I lived in Vermont before coming here, I could walk into the forest and I could identify almost all the trees. Here, there's so many different kinds of trees for one, and it's all new stuff to me. And I'm starting to learn a little bit, but I'm thinking once I start, cutting the wood for my floors, I'm going to have to learn the trees a lot better, so I know which trees to cut and which ones to not cut. And I'm going to have to, ask some of my old neighbors, because there are like 70-year-old guys around here who are still active and everything. I have a neighbor, and I'm gonna. He actually said he would go with me at some point, so I have to ask him to go into the jungle with me, and just identify a bunch of trees, and maybe I'll take little labels or something, and just stick it on the trees, so that I can look at the tree and be like, okay, this is that, and every time I walk by it, I'll get a reminder, and after a little while, I'll be able to identify them without having to have the label on it, Oh yeah, so yeah, I have to get paths going to be able to get the logs out of there. And then there's other stuff. I want to make a kind of a really cool campground in my bigger property over there. But that's going to take a while. My money goal is to create enough passive income to not have to slave to feed my family. It will take about $1 million invested to generate that income, but my lifestyle won't change much. Yeah, I don't know. That sounds terrible to me. I would, yeah. Obviously, you have to do what you think is right. But for me, man, I want to cut down my need for money as much as possible, so that it doesn't take such a huge investment to be able to keep paying for things. Because the thing is, like, even if you have passive income that's coming in, and this goes back to what I was talking about. People think money. If you have enough money, you'll be fine. But even if you have all this passive income that's coming in, and you're like, fine, it's enough money to pay for my food and whatever. If inflation goes up, and suddenly your money becomes half of what it was, worth half of what it was, or a quarter, or even a tenth. If you're only relying on the money, you're kind of screwed. So it's a very risky thing to do. And it seems like it might be safe-ish, because all this financial stuff doesn't happen instantly. It's not like, even when you get inflation, people talk about how, when they print out a bunch of money, inflation doesn't suddenly spike up. Of course it doesn't suddenly spike up. Like, the money has to get in there and start slowly doing its thing, and inflation goes up gradually. So all this financial stuff happens gradually. So it's easy to look at it and say, well, nothing's changing, really. I mean, yesterday to today, it's no big change, whatever. And you can think that even during like a time of horrible inflation. But anyway, yeah, I hope that works out for you. You decided against bandsaw mills. Yeah, so this is a question about lumber mills. For anyone who doesn't know, a lumber mill is a machine that will cut your logs into boards, mill them, you might say. And there are various types of lumber mills, and there are two main blade kinds. One would be a bandsaw, which is just, I can draw it on here. So one would be a bandsaw, which has a wheel here. There's a really fancy drawing, and then another wheel here, and then a steel band that goes around the whole thing. And it's got like sharp teeth. So when you start spinning one of these wheels, the whole thing spins around like a tank tread. And since it's got sharp teeth on one end, you can move this through your log, and it'll cut a nice straight thing. The problem is you have to, like, conditions have to be like really good for a bandsaw to work well, or else it starts cutting crooked and messing up or getting stuck. So you have to keep it sharpened. And the metal on a bandsaw blade is, I wouldn't say soft, but relatively soft. So you have to sharpen it a lot. And then the bands break, and it's kind of a pain in the butt. And the bands are, the blades are kind of expensive, and you can't just go to the local store to get them. So these are all reasons why I've kind of opted against bandsaws. They do work though, and a lot of people use them, and they're great. Maybe it's that I live in a place where it would take me a month to get a new blade replacement, or maybe it's just that I like the circular saw better. So yeah, I just like the circular saw better. So the circular saw blade is just, a circular saw blade like you'd have on a table saw or a circular saw, just a circle blade, right? Now in a lumber mill, they generally make them big. I'm gonna design a lumber mill that works with a 12-inch blade, which is like kind of the biggest size blade you can reasonably expect to find at a store. So mostly so it's easy to replace. Like that's the reason I'm choosing that size. And the good thing about the circular saw blade is you get them with carbide teeth. So you don't need to sharpen them nearly as often. And if you do have to sharpen them, it's just like a diamond, just get a diamond sharpening thing and just do it real quick. It's pretty easy to do. But because it has the carbide tips, you don't have to sharpen it nearly as often. And because the blade is like a solid disc of metal, it's gonna stay straight. Whereas with the band saw, it's a thing that's stretched across. So if it's not sharpened evenly, or if it starts getting dull, you know, the band can start wiggling up and down and kind of screwing up your cuts. But the solid disc of steel has a lot more strength to keep itself straight. Now the downside of the circular saw blade is you can't cut like a huge wide thing. The widest cut you can do is whatever width you can cut there times 2, because you got like a nut here in the middle or whatever. Although, yeah, I guess you always have that, at least on one side. So you can cut down one side of a log with the thickest cut you can make, and then come back on the other side of the log, and then you can cut like a 10-inch wide board when you can only cut 5 inches at a time. But with a bandsaw blade, you can cut like a 2 or 3 foot wide board all at once, which is really nice. Those are beautiful. However, the circular saw blade, it's just a lot less problematic, I've found. And I've built both kinds of lumber mills, and I really like the circular saw blade more. The other thing is that the circular saw blade cuts a much nicer surface of the board. And maybe that's not always true. Maybe if someone has their bandsaw tuned in real good, they can get a nice flat surface of their board, but it just seems like you have to have everything working so perfectly to get the bandsaw to work right. But the circular saw blade, it always does a good job. Okay. What kind of wood trees do you have there? Oh, tropical wood trees. I don't know, just all kinds of stuff. There's Nispero is this really hard wood that's hard to find. Mayo Rojo, which is also, what's the word? Mahogany. There's lots of that. This table is mahogany, actually. The table I was just showing earlier. Here, let's sit down a little bit. Wait. Yeah, this table here. This is mahogany. It does shrink a lot. Mahogany shrinks a lot. So I might, this seam opened up a little. Although I'm pretty sure this wood is finished shrinking at this point, because it's been here for like over a year. Well, maybe a year. Yeah, about a year. So I can putty in that crack, or maybe unscrew the boards, shove them together, and then screw them back together. Glue it. I don't know. Anyway, it is really nice wood. I do like that wood a lot, mahogany, because it's lightweight and strong. It does shrink a lot, but that's, oh well. And then there's also laurel and almendro and zapatero, and a lot of these probably have different names in English that I don't know. So I don't know. There are just so many different kinds of wood. Oh, there's also balsa wood, and there's this horrible tree called warumo. I think that's what it's called. And warumo is, it's this tall, straight tree, which looks kind of like it might be nice wood, but the center of the tree is hollow and full of ants. Nice to cut. Although I did cut one, because my neighbor had one fall down, and he said, if you want this tree, you can cut it up and take it. And yeah, it was just full of ants. But I got some decent boards out of it that I used for something. It was just for something temporary. Okay, sawmill will be a swing blade, less maintenance than a band mill. Yes, exactly what I was talking about. And what he's talking about with a swing blade is, so a band saw with the big band, you just run it through, and it cuts a huge wide thing, and then you back up. And then you have to rotate your log if you want to cut the sides of the boards. But a swing blade, you have a circular blade, right? And you cut down one side, and then you swing the blade, and then you cut back this way, so that you can, you know, let's see. So say you've got this is the end of your log here, and you can cut across here, and then up there, and you can cut like boards right out without having to move the log. And then you move over again, you cut here, and then there, and yeah, you don't have to move your log. So you just get your log in position once. It's really nice. We're going on an adventure. Woohoo! Oh yeah, that was when I fixed the boat. I can't believe she did that. It was funny when I asked Deshana if she disconnected her solar panels, and she's like, no, okay, I was going to disconnect them. I was like, did you disconnect the wires? Yes, I disconnected the wires. And I'm like, well, oh, it's so funny. I have never seen Jaimie with a dog or other pet. Think living alone, he would want a dog. You know, I feel like I don't want a dog living alone. If I had a girlfriend here, I would be more likely to get a dog than when I'm by myself. Partly because like if I'm by myself, a lot of times I'll just go into like just totally by myself mode, and I don't know. It's like I don't want a dog when I'm by myself. I want a dog when I have more company. Oh, Tomatoes, how's it going? All right. Thinking it starts at 11 again. Oh, so what time does this start for you? You had daylight saving time or whatever. So do I start at 10 or 12 now? Thank you. I must start at 10 for you if you're here late. Thank you for the live show. Don't forget to like the video and PK'd the algorithm gods. What is PK'd? I'm gonna have to look that up. Was that a typo or is there a word called PK'd? Hi, Jaimie and Deshana. Kids? Hi, kids. Yeah, kids. Oh, I love having my kids here. I love my kids. They're so awesome. Yesterday, when I was, moving my table from back there to over here and rearranging all that metal stuff, like 3 of my kids, my oldest one was like busy sewing herself a dress, which she did a great job on. Man, at the end of the day, she comes out in this dress and is like, I'm like, where did you get that dress? And she's like, well, that's what I've been sewing all day. It's a really good dress. Like she's getting really good at sewing. But anyway, the other 3, even the 2-year-old, were helping me like rearrange, like move this table over here. We took everything off the table, picked out the stuff that was just kind of junk and garbage, and reorganized things. Like there was a whole bunch of electronic stuff that was just under there, so I put it in an oat container. And now instead of like just junk all under the table, there are I think 3 of these. Yeah. So it was like this huge area of junk, and when we actually picked through it and organized it, it was just 3 oat containers worth of stuff that we wanted, and everything else was just like little bits of paper and pieces of wood that just, went into the fire pile. But they helped me get all that organized. They helped me move the table over here, and they weren't strong enough to hold one end of the table because it's a pretty heavy table. But then one of them's like, "Hey, I'll get my scooters." We put 2 of the table legs on scooters, and they helped steer the scooters. And then I picked up the other end of the table, and we wheeled it around to get it over here. And then there was a huge pile of metal over there that was just all a mess under the floor, and we got it all organized. And they actually helped. Like they probably cut the amount of time it took in half. I was very impressed. Because when you have kids, they're basically useless at the beginning. But then as they grow up, they start, you have to get them to start helping you with things. And at first, it takes like twice as long to do anything when your kids are helping because they're terrible at everything. But that's how they learn. It's like an investment, And it gets really cool when your kids start helping you with things and it's actually helpful. Yeah, it was really cool. I had a great day yesterday. Okay. What are we doing? We were fixing Deshana's boat. Yeah, Jaimie is checking to see why Deshana's batteries are not charging. I still can't believe she did that. She's so ridiculous. Fixing the boat quick. I am glad that was a quick boat fix. At first, I was like, oh man, I do not know how to fix this. because I didn't know that the solar panels had been disconnected. I just thought, like, I was under the impression at first that Deshana just disconnected the motor and put the motor back, and it just suddenly didn't work. But yeah, as soon as I knew she connected the solar panels, oh, that was good to hear. Good to have a J in your life, D. Does that sound funny? Oh yeah, yeah. So Deshana and I have a silly relationship where we don't really get along with each other. We don't even like hanging out with each other that much, but we're like useful to each other's lives. So it ends up working out as long as we have separate houses. You know, I don't know. Hear you now. Video and audio are working. Good. Good morning. 8:30 here on the west coast of California. Hey, Joe Blow, how's it doing? Let's see. I'm scrolling through a little bit because I don't know how far I'm behind. Merry Christmas. Is it Christmas? When is Christmas? It's not Christmas yet. Try to gift one time a week sometime. Let's see. Wildlife. Yeah, I just kicked all my wildlife out. I'm collecting questions all week. What does that mean, you're collecting questions? Someone should collect questions. So Hans is collecting questions that I can answer. If you have questions for me, put them in here, I'll answer. Oh, it looks like he just did. Okay, is rebar, reinforced styrocrete, structural for a monolithic dome Quonset hut? Okay, first, I don't like rebar because it rusts and, you know, it greatly reduces the lifespan of masonry products, concrete. Now, in terms of rebar in styrocrete, I don't think that would work very well because the rebar is so strong compared to the styrocrete that if the styrocrete's breaking, I think it would just, like, the rebar would just kind of cut through it. So I think if you're reinforcing styrocrete, it would be much better to have something that'll spread out the load. You know, you don't want all the load in one bar. You want the load spread out, so like a mesh. So you could use steel mesh on my big roof up here. You know, let me just show my roof. Ooh, oh, I love that roof. I can't wait till that's all floor up there. Oh man, it's gonna be amazing. So what I did up there was I used old fishing net, and you know, it's like, you know, mesh, so the force of the fishing net gets spread out more, so it's less likely to just kind of rip through the styrocrete. Also, the fishing net isn't that much stronger than the styrocrete, so I think the fishing net would rip if the styrocrete was moving. But yeah, if you wanted to use steel to reinforce styrocrete, I would definitely use mesh or something that's going to spread the weight out more than single bars. Structural for a monolithic dome or Quonset hut. Yeah, I mean, I would be, well, if you're going to do a Quonset hut with styrocrete, you'd have to make it kind of thick. Unless you did what I was mentioning the other day, which would be, would you like to see my picture I did yesterday? Hi, let's shake on it. I don't know what was going on there. So a Quonset hut, for anyone who doesn't know, I'll just draw a quick picture here. So, you know, that's your basic Quonset hut. And, you know, obviously you have a wall in the front and the back. You know, you put your doors there and stuff. And the top view of a Quonset hut is generally just a rectangle, right? Now, if I was doing a Quonset hut type of thing with styrocrete, I'd do it more like that. So it ends up just kind of being like an elongated dome, so that you still get the strength of the dome shape. Because, you know, if you have something that's just a cylinder, come on, paper, just cooperate with me. Oh, let's use this paper. If you have something that's a cylinder like this, like you can bend it in. If you have a crack that goes along the whole thing, it can collapse in, right? But if you have something that's also curved that way, it's a lot harder to. There's no straight point where you can have a crease that will can collapse. So like with my roof up there, there's no point that's straight across where it could get a crack or a weak point and break and collapse in, right? Because it's curved all the way around. So, and this is why domes are so strong. To get a dome to collapse, like you have to have a huge crack and the whole thing has to move a lot. Like it takes a lot more force to break a dome than it does to break something cylindrical. Let's see. I'm a cool kid now. Are you? Nice. I was never one of the cool kids. You know, in high school, I was like, well, I was always like a kind of like a weirdo nerd in school. And in grade 7 and 8, things were not going well at home, and I was not happy with anything. I just didn't want to be around people, and oh my God, people were so mean. And I was just like, everybody get away from me, just get away from me. And I just wanted everyone to get away from me all the time. And I hated recess and lunchtime and just going to school. I hated the entire thing. And then in high school, you know, the first year I was still like that. I was just like, everybody just get away from me. And the only reason I didn't get beaten up by bullies all the time was because I had some muscles, and you know, bullies would try stuff and I'd just punch them and they'd be like, all right, just leave that guy alone. And then everyone was just like, that's that weird Jaimie guy, leave him alone, don't talk to him. And then in grade 10, you know, second year of high school, I got really, well, I was always into sports anyway, but I started doing track and field, and then I won Athlete of the Year. And because I won that, suddenly, just for stupid reasons, I was considered cool. And this, like the day after I won the award, one of the cool girls came up to me and starts talking to me. And I'm like, why are you even talking to me? She's like, well, you know, you won this award, so now everything is going to change for you. Your life is going to be so much better. And I may have said that's effing stupid and walked away. But it didn't matter, because from then on, I was one of the cool kids. And like, it was so weird. Never want to, don't be one of the cool kids. It's so lame and dumb and boring. And I still hung out with, you know, the nerds when I did hang out with anyone. I've never seen you weld metal. Is there any specific reason? Saltwater? I have welded a lot of metal. I haven't done much welding since coming here. The only welding I've done was where I took some, you know, what do you call it? Arc welding electrodes and connected them directly to some solar panels with some ice grips and just kind of ghetto welded some stuff together. It actually worked pretty well. And they were stainless welding rods. But I do have a welder. It's right over there. I don't have enough electricity at the moment to comfortably run it. I mean, I could run it off the batteries for a few minutes, fine. But you know, I would want to have a lot more solar power coming in, and then I would only use it when the sun is out, because I don't want to be that hard on the batteries. But I guess the other thing is I guess I haven't had any need to weld anything that was great enough to warrant setting all that up. And a lot of that is saltwater, yeah. So I haven't really been doing anything with steel because it just rusts. So all that steel I showed earlier that's on the floor over there, all that stuff will be inside. Like I'll never build something with steel and then use it outside. Preferably, at least. Maybe my lumber mill is probably going to have a few steel parts, just because, you know, it's what I can find or whatever. But yeah, I've been working in fiberglass and stainless steel and aluminum. Another reason that, you know, welding is not always the best choice is because you can't undo a weld. So whenever I have a choice between welding something and bolting it, or even riveting it, if I can get enough strength with the bolts or rivets, I'll do that over welding because I can take it apart and change things and adjust things. But once you weld something, it's pretty solid. That said, welding is amazing. I love welding things. So probably at some point in the future, probably after I get my upper floors done and, you know, get some other stuff taken care of, I'll want to set up my welder. And I'm going to want to get some stainless welding wire, which I don't currently have. Probably, I'm wondering if I actually had a roll of stainless welding wire here, I wonder if I would set up my welder and start welding some stuff. I might actually. So yeah, I guess that's the reason. Just got here. What wonderful happenings have I missed? Oh, well, I blah, blah, blabbed on for like a while about, I don't know, nothing nonsense. And then I fixed Deshana's boat because she broke it, because she disconnected things and put it back and was like, this will work, right? It's fine. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe we did that. Anyway, so I fixed that. And then now I've just been reading comments. Have you ever, ooh, this is Hans again. Good job, Hans, collecting questions. Have you ever considered a long-tail boat, mud motor drive design for your boat? And you could have one engine and swap it between multiple boats. Also, you could have portable power banks. Why, yes, I have used long-tails actually. So the long-tail motor is basically, you got your motor and it's just a long shaft of tube, whatever, steel, whatever, and then you got a propeller on the end and you stick that in the water. And I've made several of those. When I first got here, my first few boats, that's the only kind of motor I had, or the only kind of motor I made. And I made a bunch of them, and I actually like those more than the standard outboard where it's got the shaft that comes down and the gears and the propeller there. So the only reason I have one of those on my current boat is because I got it real cheap from a guy and it works. So as soon as it stops working, I'm gonna have another standard outboard. I'll just use a long tail thing. And I think with any future boats that I make, I'm just gonna plan them around having a long shaft, because it's just so many, it's just fewer moving parts. Because the gears that do the 90-degree thing, that's a major maintenance issue on standard outboard motors. And I do have one of those built into the zombie chopper, which is my white boat. It's my little fast boat. Can't hold much cargo, but it goes pretty quick. And it's got a motor inside the hull, and then a shaft that goes down pretty far. I mean, it's like 2-meter long shaft or something. And then it goes through the hull out into the water. But it does not have a seal there around the shaft. Instead, it has a tube that's attached to the hull. It's part of the hull. It comes up along the tube, way above the water line, like pretty much right up to the motor, so that it doesn't actually have to have a seal. And that's another problem with the the standard outboards. If your seals wear out or whatever, get a leak, you start getting seawater into your gears, and then it's just a mess. So yeah, the long tails get around that, having the long shaft. So I do like those a lot. Also have portable power banks. Yes, I do have one portable power bank, which is just plugged into my house right now. So it's helping out with my house batteries. But I could disconnect the little alligator clips on it and take it on a boat. But I don't know, things have been going pretty well without batteries. The other thing is the battery suitcase I made over there. It's got all very used lithium batteries. They're lithium iron phosphate batteries, life pose. And they were very used when I got them. And maybe that's partly why I don't want to rely on them on a boat too much. So maybe at some point I can get a sponsor or something to send me some like new batteries. I've spoken with a few people who have YouTube channels who've gotten free batteries. Then you show it on your YouTube channel and for advertising and stuff. So maybe at some point something like that will happen, and I'll actually have a new lithium battery, and I would put that on the boat. Let's see. I thought it was cool your son likes Captain America as he is the most honorable superhero. Yeah, I'm actually comfortable with him enjoying Captain America. He's pretty into Captain America. He actually wants me to call him Captain America lately. So, for instance, this morning, I pulled out his toothbrush, put a little toothpaste on it, and said, "Hey, Cap, your equipment's ready." And he runs over, he's like, yeah, it's great. Yeah, and Captain America, he's out of all those superhero guys, generally you wouldn't say they're very good role models. But the Captain America guys, he's pretty good. Like he's like cares about things. He's got some moral integrity, and he tries to do a good job, and he's polite and all that. Yeah, so I'm comfortable with my son associating with him. I think you don't have a 3D printer. That is mostly correct. I have 2 broken 3D printers, but I mean, I could probably make one out of them, but if I start 3D printing again, I think I'm just going to start from scratch. Isn't that exactly your thing? I've seen people print with plastic from used water bottles. I would love to make a thing that will, recycle plastic and then print stuff out again. At the moment, I don't have enough need for it, I guess, to get it set up. Although there's a guy who said he would send me one. I think maybe that's not going to happen because he might have gotten too busy with some stuff, or maybe he couldn't send. I don't know. I haven't heard from him in a bit. But if I had a 3D printer, I would use it. But I don't have enough need for one right now to get one, I guess. Do you have a lot of wind? We do get I wouldn't say a huge amount, but we do have fairly reliable wind coming from the north mostly. It got so quiet. Why did it get so quiet? You can still hear me, right? I imagined Jaimie kite surfing his boat forward on tailwind. Too dangerous? Well, it is a little bit, the wind is unreliable. And I've spoken with a lot of people around, like in this area, about sailing, because there are like no sailboats around here. Like almost no one ever sails. Not there's no sailboats, there are sailboats, but I almost never see them under sail. Like people will just kind of motor around, the area around here. And then once they get out to the ocean, then they'll sail. And I've spoken with some sailors, and they're like, yeah, the wind around here is so unreliable, and it changes that, it's kind of a pain in the butt to sail. And I noticed this when I first got here. My first boat that I made, I had a sail on it. I have a really nice picture of it somewhere, but I don't think I have any video of it. Oh no, I have a bit of video of it, I think. Anyway, I found that to be the case. Yeah, it's the wind is unreliable and changes a lot, and it's just kind of hard to sail. But I have been thinking more about putting a sail on one of my solar pedal boats that would be easy to put up and down, because there are occasions where I've got a tailwind or a side wind, and I'm just like, man, if I had to sail right now, even just a little sail, I'd be getting some more speed. So yeah. But I don't know about the whole kite thing, because I feel like I don't want to do a kite thing, because I don't want all those strings to deal with. It just seems like it's too much to pay attention to. And if your strings get tangled up or caught in something, it's a mess. And then when you're done kite surfing, you got to wrap it all up. And yeah, it just seems like a logistical nightmare to try to drive a boat around with a kite thing. Got so quiet just in time for the JMO show. Never late for that. 65 in the chat, growing a little each week. What is this? 65 in the chat, growing a little each week. I'm not sure what that's talking about. I might have missed something. Should look at EcoFlow for sponsors for Sawmill. All right. That's all. Where's my paper? EcoFlow. This is a sawmill, I think. All right, I should look into that. I know, I'm probably just going to build my own sawmill, although I would not be, okay, yeah, for sawmill. Yeah, I would not be opposed to using someone else's, but yeah, I don't want to spend a bunch of money on one. If someone sponsored me with a sawmill, then yeah, I would probably go for that. I think your life videos are highly valuable, Jaimie. Well, I think those are valuable too. I think your live videos are highly valuable. Yeah, I basically make like no money on these live videos, but I also think they're valuable, even for me, because it's good to to get some two-way communication. Because, you know, when I do the videos all the time, I know I'm talking to people through the camera, but I don't get any feedback. But it's really good to get the feedback here. Did you hear the one about California deciding to allow police robots? Oh, the ability to kill. Then the people got wind of it, so they canceled it. What are they thinking? Oh my God, seriously? Like I cannot say I'm surprised, because, you know, the man keeps coming up with these idiotic ideas, and this is the way it goes, and this is what's scary. They've got it all worked out. So they'll present this idea of police robots that can kill you, and they'll just throw it out there. People will be like, "What the? No effing way!" So they'll be like, "Well, of course they're going to say that. All right, let's keep it on the shelf." And then like a year later, they'll say it again, and the people will be like, "No effing way!" But it won't be as many people, because a bunch of the people will start kind of warming up to the idea or start ignoring it. And every time they kind of roll it out and say it, you know, there are fewer and fewer people protesting. And there's maybe the protesting needs to be more assertive, let's say. But yeah, if there's no negative consequences, you know, these people come out with these idiotic ideas that are horrible and stupid, and everyone knows it's horrible and stupid, but they're just like, well, we'll just keep rolling it out every now and then when it gets to the point where people are either just kind of bored about hearing it and not paying attention anymore, or people have just gotten used to the idea, then it's like, okay, now we can actually do it. Ha ha! And this keeps happening over and over, and there's so many terrible things going on right now that people knew were a terrible idea, but they just kind of, you know, got bored, started accepting it, and just were like, whatever, fine, go ahead, ruin everything. But yeah, it's terrible. EcoFlow seemed to be sponsoring every YouTuber these days. Some nice bits of equipment though, battery-wise. EcoFlow. Oh, it's one word, isn't it? Well, yeah, I'm gonna look into that. I don't know anything about it. I'm sure EcoFlow, I would send. Oh, I think it's a typo. I'm sure EcoFlow would send you some useful kit. Where do you live? I live in the Caribbean. You know, the Atlantic Ocean, the western part of it, tucked up in Central America. I'm off the coast of Panama. EcoFlow is nice as it's all in one and solar charge controller. Oh, that's cool. Mahogany is good for guitars. Oh, cool. Check out solar kilns for drying wood to reduce shrinkage when building with it. Yeah, I'm not, that's one of the things that's on my list that I need to figure out, is like what I'm gonna do with wood that I'm gonna cut to build floors. Like, how am I gonna dry it? Even if I just get all trees that are on the ground, which will obviously be my first choice. Even if I get all trees that are on the ground that have fallen, they're not necessarily going to all be dried out. So I'm going to have to do something. I don't know, store them in some way, dry them out. I don't know. Somehow I'm going to have to dry them out. 73 watching now. Is that a record or what? Oh, you're talking about the number of people watching. Okay. Jaimie is getting popular these days. I don't know. Do you play guitar? I don't really play guitar. I mean, I know basically what to do, but I don't have a guitar. Hi, Jaimie. Just watching Dead Sun Prime. Tomaters, 10 a.m. now. It was 11 before the time change. No problem. I'll get used to it before it changes back in 6 weeks. Haha. And then I'll be, yeah. Hi from Norway. Negative 12 degrees Celsius there. It's funny. It's been unusually cold here. So my kids and I, they've been here the last few days. Deshana was off doing some other thing. I love it when my kids are just here for like days and days. It's great. Anyway, we were talking yesterday about how cold it's been, and then I had to mention to them, but this isn't actually cold, because it's like I don't know, 15 degrees Celsius it's been. Like I'm still wearing no sleeves, you know, and we all sleep with blankets off and stuff. But it's pretty cold for the tropics. So I had to mention them. This is cold for here, but it's not actually cold. Like where we used to live in Vermont, it would snow and be frozen, like freezing cold for months at a time. And it's kind of beautiful when it's freezing cold and there's snow everywhere. So I hope you're having a beautiful day up in Norway. Tennessee, USA. Tennessee gets coldish. Let's see. On a wooden floor, a slice of potato under the table legs will glide like on ice. Huh. So if you're moving stuff across a wooden floor, you can take a slice of potato and put it under there, and it'll just slide along. But then you have this big smear of like snail trail of potato, which I guess wouldn't be the worst thing. So I think you were talking about when I was moving this table, which is on a concrete floor, so that totally wouldn't work. But I'll keep that in mind. I don't know. I don't think I'd want to waste a piece of potato on that. I think I'd rather just lift things up. Potatoes are beautiful. Fat fingers. What? Wait. My fingers are pretty thin. I don't think you're talking about me. My fingers are not. Oh yeah. Speaking of fingers, so this is my hand that was swollen a couple weeks ago. So you can see the tendons again and everything. Everything's fine. You see my veins and everything again. Yeah, totally healed. Everything's fine. In case anyone was wondering. Question. Hi, Jaimie. Is there a garbage boat that comes around once a week to collect rubbish? No, not at all. I don't take anything to a dump. I deal with everything here. And let me show you the last year of garbage. I'll show you my garbage supply right now. Hold on. So this is my garbage from the last year. And some of this, I mean, basically it's just plastic. It's like all the plastic bags and plastic things. There's a bit of used sandpaper in there, which maybe I could probably just burn in the fire when I'm cooking stuff. There's also a blanket in there that was disintegrating, but I'm pretty sure the blanket's like polyester, so it's basically a bag of plastic. Like I don't know I haven't figured out what to do with the plastic yet. But anything paper or wood, I have uses for paper and wood. All my what are they called? All my cement bags. I dump the cement out and I make sure I open them kind of along the seam. And then I rip the bag open and open it all the way and flatten it out and sweep off the dust. And then I have big pieces of paper. So, I should get that off the tool side of my house and over to the drawing side of my house because it's still over there. But I have this big stack of big sheets of paper. A lot of them are cement bags, which are actually 2 layers. So you get 2 big pieces of paper. A lot of them are just packing paper, like there's a surplus place I sometimes buy stuff from. Surpluscenter.com if anyone's interested. And sometimes they'll send stuff, I'll get like a bunch of wheels or something, and they use crumpled up pieces of paper as a packing material, which I think is great because I pull those out carefully and unwrinkle them and flatten them out, and then I lay them all out and roll them up on a piece of PVC tubing, and I roll it tight so it gets all the wrinkles out. So I have all this, any paper or wood or anything like that, I use either for drawing or building or something, or I also cook on fire. So, I'll use papers for starting the fire. That's where all my cardboard boxes end up going. No, not all of them. My kids also use cardboard boxes to build robot suits and suits of armor and dollhouses and just all kinds of stuff. But eventually, the cardboard boxes end up in like little bits or just shredded up or whatever. And then I end up using it to start fires, cooking fires. So there's not that much garbage I have that I don't use. And I happen to think that garbage is one of the massive issues we have in the world today And one of the ways to solve that would be to have no more garbage pickup. People have to deal with their own garbage. So I do that. I figure out ways to deal with my own garbage. And just imagine how much the world would change if there was no more garbage pickup. Like you'd go to the store and you'd look at things with packaging, and instead of buying the thing with the biggest, prettiest packaging, ooh, check out my muscles. I got some muscles in there. Nice. Anyway, you get instead of getting the thing with the biggest, prettiest packaging, you'd be like, whoa, that's just going to be garbage. Let me get the thing with less packaging, or preferably no packaging. And that would take care of a huge problem in the world. Like going to buy disposable water bottles, that would just disappear overnight if people couldn't just throw it in the garbage and have it disappear instantly. So yeah, the whole idea of garbage being constantly taken away, I think, is a terrible thing. People should have to deal with their own garbage. I think it would solve a lot of problems in the world. Yeah, so I haven't taken anything to a dump or anything. I do have some used batteries, and there's a place in town that'll recycle them, so I'm going to take those there. But that's it. Let's see. Oh, cool shirt, Jaimie. Why, thank you. I like this. This is my favorite shirt. Yeah, I like this one. I painted it by hand. Well, this adventure builder symbol is a stencil, and then I was just hanging out with my kids one day, and I was like, hey, I should paint this. So yeah, all the flames and the stars in here are, there's a bigger star down there. That's all just hand painted. Normal for Jaimie, 20 minutes behind in chat. He will read it all. I will read all the comments. So usually how this goes is I begin by having some kind of 20-minute monologue or whatever, and then today I also fixed a boat, and then I'll start reading the comments. And I think that actually works out really well because I don't run out of comments. Because if I was reading the comments in real time, I would often get to a point where no one's saying anything, and then I'm just like, But being a little bit behind in the comments, I can just keep scrolling, and usually it ends up working out pretty well that I'll get to the end of the comments at around 2 hours, and that's kind of become the amount of time I do this. Dark Southern England, yes. A property I looked at just above the property I bought had an unassembled Quonset hut in a shipping container included in the deal. Oh man, that would be cool. I joined the cool kids 7th grade, but then fell out of favor with them. Yeah, getting a taste of the cool kid life. Ugh. Left a bad taste in my mouth right away. Never hung out with cool kids. I was already cool in my mind. Yeah, me too. I always liked who I was. I always thought the cool kids were like the most boring people ever. Like they're like, yeah, let's go get drunk, and I'd be like, well, why would I want to get drunk when I can go home and invent some new robot thing or go running, and I can. Oh, I used to love running. Partly because it got me away from like crappy home life, but like I would go on the most amazing adventures running. Like I'd go on like a 10 or 20 mile run, and sometimes I had routes that I had planned out ahead of time. But on days when I wasn't trying to, meet some specific speed and, make some time or whatever, I would just be like, I'm just going to start going. And every time there's a turn or a straight, I'm going to pick the way that I've never seen before. And I would end up in these weird places. And, one time I found waterfalls in the city where I grew up, and I didn't even know they were there. And then I ran there a lot. It was really cool. All right, any chance to do micro hydro at your place? Yeah, actually there is. So not right here, but on my bigger property that's on one of the main islands, there's a creek that runs through it. So I could definitely do some micro hydro there. I want to do a ram pump there to do some stuff with the water, but I'm not doing much over there yet. Put question before a question. He will know it is a question. That is actually helpful. Although now I just read all the comments anyway. Proper stainless welding requires Carbon dioxide, argon gas mix the shield, the arc from oxidization. I think there was a typo there. Yeah. So can you get flux cord stainless welding wire though? Does that work? I think that's got to exist, right? I do have a welder that has a thing for the gas and everything. I don't have a gas tank. That's probably one of the reasons I haven't been welding. I don't have a gas tank. Although I do have a roll of regular steel that's flux cord, so you don't need the gas for that. And those are really easy to weld with. I think you lose like 15% power going through a 90-degree geared elbow. Really? That's a huge loss of power, man. So that was talking about having a boat motor with the shaft going down like this and then a 90-degree here. If you lose 15% of your power through those gears, that would be terrible. I hope it's not that bad, but man. Don't think he has enough vertical head for micro hydro. Also takes a fairly large volume of water. You don't need a huge vertical head for micro hydro. If you have something flowing, you can do it there and just use the speed of the thing going by. But I have actually thought about doing a thing here just with the rain, because that would be the most useful time to get a bit of extra electricity is when the sun's not out and it's raining. And sometimes it rains really hard. And I have this huge roof up here, and about a third of the roof, the water that comes off the roof goes into my water tank. But then 2/3 of the roof just comes down this gutter to the front of the house and fills up some buckets, which get filled really quickly. And then it's just like overflowing. There's just this huge spout of water. So I was thinking about sticking a pipe up on the gutter up there and having that come down. It'll come down 2 stories anyway, and having that run a little generator. I could totally do that. It would only work when it's raining, but that would be the most useful time for it to work. I made it. Hip hip. Hello, John Doe. Only in the USA does time change. Why do we do this? Why do we do this shit for? Never understand that. It is pretty silly. Canada does it too. Yeah, that's right. Something to do with farmers and banks in the olden days, I think. Yeah, it's just, the time change doesn't make any sense anymore at all. I think it's just a mess with people. I don't know. The Transatlantic Railroad created North American time zones so they could run the trains on time. I don't keep up with time these days. Me either. The only time I really know what time it is if I'm doing this, because this starts at 11, so I have my little stopwatch over there. I don't even have a normal clock or anything. I have a stopwatch and it has time on it. Usually I use the stopwatch for races with the kids and stuff like that. I make sure I know what time it is every Sunday so I can be here for this. The only other time I know what time it is if I'm going on a trip to town or meeting someone for something. If I'm going on a trip to town, I want to know what time I leave so I can, kind of keep track of how long it takes to get there. And I want to make sure I leave early enough that I'm not coming back in the dark and stuff like that. Jaimie Mansell, a simple turbine could give you surplus power and also a fallback for if the sun doesn't shine. Yes. I don't know about a simple turbine. The thing is, if I'm going to build a wind power generator, it's going to be kind of a complicated process. I'm going to have to build something fairly significant. I don't know if I could say it's just a simple thing to build, it'll just take a day or whatever. No, it's going to be a fairly involved thing. Okay. Let's see. I'm just trying to scroll through a little bit because I'm trying to get toward the end a little bit. Okay, I want a building-sized nuclear-powered 3D printer so I can print houses that will each last for 1,000 years. Cool. Were you inspired by Mike Tilden? Oh, I'm at the bottom of the comments. Is that the bottom of the comments for real? Who is? I don't know who Mike Tilden is, so I guess not. Okay, no, my comments just got stuck. There's a bunch more. Now I have to scroll back up to where I was. Man, I'm way behind. I need to hurry up. Who is Mark Tilden? I don't know. Oh. All right. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can scroll up back to where I was because apparently I was way behind. So if I miss, oh, okay, no, I'm back to where I was. Were you inspired by Mike Tilden? I just had to reset the comments because it got to the end, but there were a whole bunch more. Yeah, I don't know who Mark Tilden is. Money is an inanimate object and is therefore completely neutral. It is the malicious intention of the greedy that lead it to evil. This is why eternal vigilance is imperative. Yeah. So when people say money is the root of all evil, that doesn't make any sense. You could be like, crayons are the root of all evil, or shoes are the root of all evil, or nipple hair is the root of all evil, or I mean, you could just pick anything. But no, it's the people using any of this stuff. Like a hammer can create or it can destroy. It depends what the person holding the hammer is doing. Money can be used for good or for evil. It's just, it's just like anything else. It's not good or evil. It just depends on the people. And when people put their own responsibility onto some inanimate object, it's kind of a pathetic thing to do. It's really silly. I, for one, oh geez, okay. Let's see. Okay, I just said something about money being the root of all evil, so we'll skip that. Also, I heard Canada is offering euthanasia. I always thought that was a weird word. Like when I was a kid, I'd hear euthanasia and I would think, what are the children doing in Asia? That's so important. But euthanasia is like killing someone. Canada is offering euthanasia as healthcare, even made commercials for it. I don't know if they should be making commercials for that, but I think it's totally reasonable. Like, well, I don't think the government should have anything to do with all this stuff, but let's just put that aside. I think killing yourself or being killed, like choosing to die, I think choosing to die is a perfectly reasonable freedom that I think people should have. And obviously, it depends on the circumstances and the person, blah, 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 whatever. But I mean, I can very easily think of plenty of circumstances where I would think it would be totally reasonable to choose to die rather than live. Like if you get in a terrible accident and you're basically going to be a vegetable for the rest of your life, just kind of sponging off your family, just at that, if there's no possible recovery, I would just want to die. I want everyone to come and I want to be able to communicate to them somehow. I love you guys. Sorry this happened. I'm basically dead at this point, but it's kind of nice that I'm having this last day to be able to say goodbye, but I'm gonna have to go. So, say your loves and your goodbyes and everything, and then, call it quits. Like yeah. The whole idea that everyone should be forced to live when they're finished, it doesn't make sense. When DLST ends, it actually takes away an hour of daylight saving times. Hope you're doing well. Can I ask how you handle depression? Well, I did actually make a video a while ago about depression. I guess I haven't done it in a while. But I definitely experienced depression like anyone else, when I get a few days in a row of just bad circumstances, like a string of bad luck in a row, it's just depressing like it is to anyone else. Or when I have crappy people or whatever. The way I look at depression is, you've got ups and downs all the time. So, that's just going to happen. But when you start getting in a real rut, like real depression, I think of it as the trigger for change. So like if I'm feeling myself getting to the point where I'm so frustrated I can't handle it and I'm getting depressed, I don't feel like this. I just feel depressed. But my logical brain starts saying, wait. There's a reason I'm feeling depressed. something significant and persistent is wrong, and I have to change it. And then I'll do whatever I have to do to change it. And there have been times in my life when I've gone to pretty, what look to the outside, what looks like pretty drastic measures to fix something that I need to fix because it's causing me enough problems that I'm becoming depressed. And like one example would be, when Deshana and I spend time close to each other, it's very frustrating for me because we have different ideas about how to, we have different morality, different ideas about how things should happen, different life goals. We just don't mesh. So I was getting really depressed trying to figure out how to make our lives fit together. And so I ended up just deciding that I have to live, video's stuck. So I ended up having to decide that I need to live here in one spot and she can live in another spot. And we're close by, we're near each other. But it was kind of difficult to make that decision because I knew I couldn't take care of her and help her, whatever. I had to get our lives separated to get rid of this big depressing thing in my life. And there have been lots of times in my life when depression starts creeping in, and I'm like, okay, I have to make some kind of life-altering decision to fix this, because the depression is not something that just happens. There's a reason for it, So don't ignore your depression. If you're getting depression, if you're getting depressed, really think hard about what it is. And like when I finished university, even when I was going to university, I was being pushed down this path of this horrible life that was making me sick. It was making me depressed. So I had to make this huge life-changing thing to say, no, even though all my parents and friends and family are saying, yeah, you're doing so great, it's depressing me, I hate it, I need to go do this totally other thing. I need to go live off grid, and I won't be making much money. Money won't be a thing. So of course my family's like, oh, you're a bum now. And but it made me happy. I had to make this big decision to make myself happy. And I wouldn't have made that. I don't know, maybe I would have. But facing my own depression really helped me make that decision, which made my life so much better. Let's see. Did you know that Mexico is in top 15 richest nations and is more powerful than many European powers? Also, average wage in Somalia is $20,000 per year. USA average is 60. The wage of a person isn't that important. It's the wage they get compared to how much money they need. So you gotta factor in, cost of living. I've known a lot of friends who were like, oh, I'm gonna move to a big city because I make more money. And then they get there and like a year and a half later, they're like, I am so broke because the cost of living is so high. So they were actually better off making less money in a place where the cost of living was like a tenth of what it was, I do support crypto. This is Northern Island Boy. Decentralized finance seems like the answer. Yeah, we got to get governments out of money. They shouldn't be. Whatever. Have you used plastic bottles as heavy-duty heat shrink sleeves? I tried it after seeing it on YouTube channel and it works well. It does, I see. No, I don't really have many plastic bottles. I think that's probably one of the big reasons. I do occasionally pick up a plastic bottle in the ocean though. And I do have like an oil can over there. It's just even like oil cans, I'll go through one every like 4 months, so I don't even have that many of those. But no, I'm gonna keep that in mind. How do you make heat shrink sleeves out of a plastic bottle? Like, I guess you just use it as the size it is. Because when I think of heat shrink sleeves, I start thinking like, like doing wires and stuff like that. But maybe a heat shrink for a plastic bottle is something bigger, like if you're heat shrink wrapping some PVC pipe or something, like something closer to the size of the bottle. Or is there a way to make smaller tubes or change the size. I don't know. Hello from Hungary. Transcendent I can't even say the word. Transcendent Voyager. I support only physical currency minted in gold and silver. Yeah, even gold and silver. It's fine, but if I have been thinking recently about buying a bunch of sheet metal, like marine grade aluminum, maybe some stainless sheet, and just keeping them in new condition, stacking them somewhere in my house, maybe putting them under my bed or something. Because those are things that will retain their value. It's not as easy to carry around, a big sheet of sheet metal as it is to carry around a piece of gold. It's not like you're going to pay anything with a piece of gold anyway. But if I had to sell like a chunk of gold or a piece of sheet metal, I feel like I could find more. I feel like it would be easier to sell the sheet metal. And even if I don't sell it, it is useful to me. I can use the sheet metal for something. I could build boats or whatever. Like I really like if I'm gonna store wealth, not in dollars, I want something that has intrinsic value. Like I have lots of like stainless bolts and stuff like that. Things that will retain value. And someone asked about rivets earlier. I use a lot of rivets. I build a lot of things with rivets, but I also do have like a full bucket of rivets. But the reason there were rivets on my Amazon wish list is because I'm thinking about building a metal boat, and there are some different kind of rivets I want to try. One of them is recessed rivets. So, you put the rivet and it ends up flush. So it'd be good for under the water. Anyway, this is why now many people want to do away with it. We're still talking about the daylight savings time. Yeah. You can feed plastic to algae, submerge under the water in the sun, and algae will consume it down to the molecular level. You can use the byproduct for fertilizer. Really? So if I put plastic in water, algae will eat it, and then the rest I can use for fertilizer. Maybe I might have to look into that. Let's see. I was hoping your channel was still around. Found you through an Exploring with Josh video where he explored your old house. Yeah. I think killer robots are really cool, but not for use on people. That's just grisly and gruesome and gross. Okay, the whole thing about killer robots, like why are we, this is dumb in so many ways. Just not even gonna get into it. I'm also totally against like radio controlled drones. Like if you're gonna kill someone, I think you need a human being looking at another human being, because then there is some resistance to killing the other person. And the whole art of killing, should I call it the art of killing? The whole art of killing has been reduced to like pushing a couple buttons. So you don't actually see the person you're killing most of the time. It's just like they're just a number on a page. Kill these 6 people, okay. But like for a human being to kill another human being that's in front of them, there is some level of resistance. Like you don't want to kill someone. And I think it's important to have that resistance. Hi, Jaimie. Mark here from Southwest Florida, going to be 80 degrees today. Still nice. 80 degrees Fahrenheit, obviously. That's about the temperature it is here most of the time. Do you physically hold that going? Let me see. I'm trying to scroll through kind of quick here a little bit because I think I'm still behind. Okay, we got a question here. Have you looked into interlocking concrete styrocrete blocks? Think giant Legos might make for faster construction. Well, I thought about making. I don't know if they'd have to be. I wouldn't even need them to be interlocking. Like if you just make big styrocrete bricks, it's pretty easy to put them together. And I would still, even if they were interlocking, I would still want to mortar them together. So I don't know. I feel like they don't need to be interlocking. I have been thinking about, I want to build this guest house up on top of the hill. I was thinking about just making big styrocrete blocks, basically as big as I could pick up. who are pretty thick and like just as big as I could move into place, and then plopping them in place and making like real fat walls. My ceiling here, my roof, I should say, it's only about that thick, like 2 inches, 5 centimeters of styrocrete. But it is kind of cool having like big fat blocks. Let's see. If I'm skipping anything that I really should read, someone resend it. But I'm kind of zooming through a bit because I'm almost at 2 hours here. Let's see. So when will the robot be built? Oh yes, I do want to build a giant robot here, for sure. Maybe I need to make a list, like a map to the giant robot, and I can start with giant robot and then go down everything I need to do to be able to get to the point to build a giant robot. I mean, obviously I could just start doing it right now, but it would be a mess. I don't have everything set up, but yeah, that's something I'm really looking forward to in the future is getting everything set up enough that I'm to the point where I can just really start building a giant robot and like do an awesome job on it. When I built my first giant robot, I kind of started it when I did not have everything set up at all. I didn't even have the skills or the tools or any of the stuff, but that was kind of the point. That was largely the point of doing that giant robot project, was to basically start it and force myself to gain the capabilities to do it. Now I have like tools and a lot more knowledge and understanding and skills with stuff. So now when I actually start a giant robot, I want to just really focus on it 100% and do an amazing job on it. Like make something I can really drive around and be super cool. Let's see. Yes, until I die, I want to make the most use of my time for sure. No to the flux core stainless steel MIG wire. Oh, really? There's no flux core stainless steel MIG wire in existence? That's terrible. Well, I do have, a welder that can take a gas tank. I don't have a gas tank here, but I'm pretty sure I can get one in town with the right mix of gas. Man, I was really hoping there was flux core stainless steel MIG wire, because you can get stainless steel welding rods, like arc welding rods, which maybe I'll just use those unless I'm doing a lot of welding. But anyway, I don't need any welding right now. Socrates agrees. He thinks death only removes the distraction of the corporeal world, and therefore we need not fear death. I have no idea what happens when we die, so I don't know. I'm just going to do as much cool stuff. I'm going to do the best job I can and give the most value I can to the world before I die, and that's about all I can do. And then after I'm dead, I'll see what happens. They make arc welding rods for stainless, yeah. Do you know that SpaceX is hiring welders in several states? Being a space cowboy is now a possibility in the literal sense. Ooh, being an outer space welder, that'd be kind of cool. Should I just scroll this to get to the end of the comments? Wow, I'm way behind on comments. Oh, there's too many people here. I can't keep up. All right, I just scrolled to the end of the comments, and I'm just going to reload them so I actually see them all. Come on, comments, show up. There you are. Oh my gosh, they disappeared. Now I have no comments. I have nothing to answer. I think someone has to say something. Well, I'm at an hour and 54 minutes here anyway, so maybe I'm almost finished. Seriously, the comments disappeared? What's going on today? Oh, there they are. Wish I could move there. Only wish, though. I am happy where I live. Oh, let's see. Here's a question. So what happened to the giant robot? I thought it was a little sad when it ended with, "This is the last I saw of the robot as you drove away." Yeah, it's still at my friend's house in the United States, I guess. But so when I finished I mean, I still definitely could have done more stuff on the first giant robot I made. But when I was at the point of finishing the first giant robot I made, I was also kind of at the point of trying to flee from the United States. I kind of wanted to get out before the universal healthcare thing started, because I knew I was leaving soon, and I was like, okay, let's just draw the line right here. Let's get out before that point. And so I did. And you know, when I left the United States, I kind of left a lot of things behind, and I just went, because I knew if I tried to have everything, you know, if I tried to have everything perfect and wrapped up, I'd be there for another like 20 years. And when you want to make like a big life-changing thing like that, sometimes you just got to pick a date and say, I'm going by this time, and then whatever I can get done by then, that's it, and then I go. And so one of my goals that I really had to do before I left the United States was get the giant robot functioning on video, and I did that, and then we left the country like pretty soon after that. So I don't know. When I make the thing is, the giant robot I made, it was a cool thing, but most of the value was the stuff I learned from it. I learned an incredible amount of stuff building that thing. And now I want to build a really good one. Finally to the end, thumbs up this live stream. Well, thanks, man. Question, can we get a video on your sourdough process, especially with the coconut? Did I not make a video of that? Or maybe it's too far back. I did make a video of doing sourdough, like doing sourdough bread, and I talked about the whole process and everything. I don't remember how long ago it was. Probably if you, why is this side of my hair not sticking up and this side is? Anyway, if you look back through my videos, there should be a sourdough video not too long ago, maybe a month or two ago, something like that. But if not, if that doesn't answer your questions, just ask me some more questions. Maybe I can make another video about it. Is that blood? I think so. I don't think I'm bleeding anywhere. No, I think there's no blood. I don't think I have any blood. I think I'm okay right now. Logging ant-style robot. I have thought about making some kind of robot that can walk into the jungle and drag logs out. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Maybe at some point in the future, but the logs I'm going to use for building my floors, I don't think I'm going to have a robot ready for that. You could make an igloo out of styrocrete blocks. That would be awesome. Yeah, I mean, that's basically, you know, making a big dome out of styrocrete blocks. Yeah, I definitely want to do that. I'm going to start my sourdough starter today. Thanks for the inspiration, Jaimie. Yes, the sourdough, I love the sourdough. So someone mentioned recently that sourdough is basically the same thing as just making normal bread. It's just wild yeast. But there is definitely a difference, because like I can eat sourdough bread, I can eat a whole loaf of it and I feel great. But if I eat like kind of like normal bread, even if I make it myself with store-bought yeast, you know, I start getting that kind of like too much flour feeling, you know, like But and maybe a lot of it is just the amount of time that it takes for it to rise. Maybe if I do the store-bought yeast and actually let it rise for 12 hours or whatever, maybe it would turn into something better. But anyway, whenever I make the sourdough, I like it a lot more. Let's see. Do you know who Doug Jackson of Sailing Vessel Seeker? Yeah, I know him. I've spoken with him actually. He's a cool guy. I like him. Yeah, and he got his boat. Oh, that whole SV Seeker, the Doug Jackson thing, that whole situation was amazing. And you know, a few people have told me that he sold out and he was trying to just make money at the end. And I don't know about any of that. I do know that he was trying to get a boat in the water and he wanted to have some money to be able to maintain it and keep it going. So I kind of understand that if, you know, toward the end of when he was making it, he was trying to, you know, get more money to get the whole thing working. I kind of understand if he was trying to do that. But anyway, the whole thing, Like, it's just some guy who started building this big steel boat, and then he started getting more people involved, and then he started showing it on YouTube and getting a lot of people involved. And now his boat, I think in the last year, he got it in the water, and he's like sailing down the Mississippi or something. I don't know. I don't really keep up that much, but yeah, this is just the whole thing. What an amazing adventure. It's really, really cool. Jaimie, can you answer my question? Yes. What is your island's name? It's just my island. It's just or do you live near a big island? I'm trying to find it on Google Maps. Maybe in the near future I can visit you. Thanks. Well, just message me, send me an email if you want to visit. We can talk. I don't want to put like coordinates for my island just out there in the world, because there are weird people in the world. Hi, Jaimie. I was thinking about building board. I think there's a typo. Powered pedal e-drive for my kayak. Just to attach paddles to wheels and shield them not to get wet. Cool. Do it, man. And your sourdough loves you. Yeah, my sourdough does love me. It just keeps getting more delicious. Too many comments, question, not enough time. Yes, channel is growing. Yeah, apparently more people are watching, and now I can't keep up with the comments. Sorry. Maybe I need to read faster, or maybe I need to stop going off on like big, long answers. Or maybe we have to go back to the thing where if you have a question, actually write the word question, which people are doing now. And then I can skip through a bunch of the comments, because I do kind of like reading all the comments, but if I totally can't keep up, yeah, put question, and then I can just read the questions. What is your 5-year plan for your island? And just in general, can you give us some insight? Oh man. Okay, 5-year plan, more or less. I want to have super cool parking for all my boats, where I can get them up out of the water easily enough that I can just drive in and it does a thing, and so like basically every time I park them, I can get them up out of the water. I want to have food growing all down there and around the boats and all up on top of the hill, and I want to have a guest house up there. I want to have on my other little island. So where I am, there's 2 little islands right next to each other. I can walk to the other one through some mud, but I'm making a little bridge so I can walk across without stepping in the mud. But on the other island, I'm thinking about making a workshop there, which would be like, where I build giant robots and stuff. And I want to have, I could go into a lot of details about this, but I want to be growing all my own food, or at least be able to grow all my own food. Just because I grow all my own food doesn't mean I'll never go buy anything. Hold on, I just got a question on the walkie-talkie. Let me just check if it's emergency. Yeah, what's going on? I'm just finishing my video thing. Is there anything important? This gets interference from my internet. Oh, well, I'm almost done. Give me like 5 minutes. Over and out. Put this somewhere with my... I want to have my 2nd floor and my 3rd floor done here, but then I have to have a lumber mill built for that, a lumber mill, I think I'm mumbling. And I want to set up a campground on this other big island next to me, because I have a big chunk of land there. I guess there's a lot of things. I was saying earlier, maybe I need to just write out like a map of all the things I need to do to get to all these things I want to build. Maybe within 5 years, I want to build another giant robot, but maybe it'll be 5 years when I start it. I don't know. It's hard to say. There's a lot of things I want to do. To not miss something, I'd have to write it all down and really think about it. Yeah, SV Seekers is cool. Okay, I think I'm at the bottom of the comments, and I'm over 2 hours, so I think I should probably shut up and go back to real life and let you guys get back to what you're doing. And I hope you guys have an amazing day. Whoa. SV Seeker was the boat, people on the internet complaining about it being a commercial vessel. Whatever. Delayed launch by 7 months, but it's in the Gulf Now, anyway, cool. You're doing great, Jaimie. Thanks for the great moments. Well, you're welcome. Campground, yes, draw a map. Let's see. I'm going to write this down. Plans, map. Maybe next week I'll be able to show a map of all the stuff I want to do over the next few years. Okay, I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and I will see you next week, and I'll make some more videos, of course. Okay, bye. All right, what do I push here? Oh yeah, I push that. And then, okay.